Hey, sorry to jump into this discussion that Saiga's been having about the appeal to authority fallacy, but you asked what the difference between having a reliable source and the appeal to authority fallacy is. Saiga did a good job covering it, but the best way that I could put it is proximity to the information being given. I spilled soda on myself. That's just staying in the video. Moving on. A better name for the appeal to authority fallacy is the my uncle works at Nintendo fallacy. Basically, if you're not using the authority as evidence, but rather are using the authority to back up your postulation, that's the fallacy. Now, what does that mean? Look at it this way. Say I claim the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible. And then you ask me, how do you know that? And I say, my uncle works at Nintendo. I haven't actually provided any evidence. I simply stated that my uncle has authority. If I went further and said, my uncle works at Nintendo, sat in at an investor meeting, and has this paperwork that shows that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, and then I could provide you that paperwork, or heck, provide my uncle's first-hand testimony and prove that he does in fact work for Nintendo, then it is no longer a fallacy. At that point, I've given you evidence. In the example that Saiga was using, Saiga gave a written statement by the creators of Pokemon talking about whether or not Mew was supposed to be in the original Pokemon games, or specifically whether or not he was supposed to be catchable. The guy who disagreed with him said, "Trust me, I'm a software engineer." That's not a counter-argument. That's just stating your authority. It's essentially saying, I know that it looks like I'm wrong, but here's my authority, so you should believe me. That authority doesn't in any way refute the written and documented words that we have from the creators of Pokemon. Now, if that guy said, I'm a software engineer and I worked at Nintendo and I know these guys personally and here's this evidence that shows that Mew was supposed to be catchable, that's a different story. But that's not what he said. He just said, dude, trust me, I'm a software engineer. And you being a random software engineer doesn't mean shit. I deal with this in science communication all the time. I will get a lot of, dude, trust me, I'm a whatever, like I'm a physics grad student or something. And sometimes I'll look up their claims and they'll be right, and sometimes I'll look up their claims and it turns out that they're in a completely different area of physics than something I was talking about, and we're just trying to win the argument really quick by saying, I have more authority than you. In general, you want to trust experts. The reason that appeal to authority is a fallacy is because authority doesn't necessarily make you an expert. When you bring authority into an argument, you need to prove that authority's relevance to the argument first. So, like, the reason why you can trust Oda when it comes to statements about One Piece is because Oda wrote One Piece. But if someone said, hey, trust me, I work at Crunchyroll, yes, that is authority, but that's not necessarily authority that is applicable to this situation. I wanted this to be a really short video, but I don't know how to stop yapping. Bye.